think that you would allow a predator or even a previously convicted or charged predator to own a gym, let alone coach a cheerleading gym. And so there is this assumption by parents of like, oh, there must be some checks and balances in place that would allow you to be with my child.
You don't have to be a USASF coach to work in a gym. You just have to be a USASF certified coach to go to warm-ups. You can still get in the building. You can still go watch. You can still work with athletes in the program. USASF doesn't control that. The gym owners are supposed to.
Hi, looking for the owner of the gym.
That's me.
Are you Michelle Robinson?
Yes.
You're the person we'll probably be mentioning by name just because of your background. So I'd love a chance to just make sure
my background, because of what I did, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think you would be hard-pressed to find another youth sports organization that has dedicated the time and the effort that we have to these non-sporting resources. We're not afraid to address tough topics, and we hold our members accountable for providing that standard of care that our athletes deserve.
Some know before they come here, they've heard, obviously it's public record, so they've heard, or they've heard through friends or whatever. So if they have questions, they just ask, and I just answer honestly. I can't hide it.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Hit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 up, 3. Move 5, 7 down. 1, 3, 5, 7 up. 1. Move 3, 4, 5, 6. Go 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Back 5.
I just wanted a second chance, and I worked my butt off to get that second chance.
To be our member, the expectation is that you are going to have policies in place that protect the athletes. We have established guidelines that state that everybody should do a screening process.
But what the gyms decide to do with the information that they get is ultimately their responsibility, if I'm hearing you correctly?
That is correct.
How long has the gym been a USASF member?
Since our first year, so 6 years. At a competition, I can't, go in the back or anything like that. Can't go to warm-ups with my own teams, that sort of thing. So I have plenty of coaches, and my sister is actually the registered owner with USASF, which we share a lot of it anyway, so no big deal. I do what I'm supposed to. I'm a paid spectator when I go. There's no way I could ever pass their background check. They're very strict about it.
I don't think it's good enough to say you can't go into the warm-up area where the children are preparing to take the stage, but you can come into the venue and watch and be around all these children. I think they feel as though their only responsibility is at the events. It's someone's responsibility everywhere.
Everybody that works in that facility may not have a role that would require them to go backstage at an event.
Many, many gyms have outside staff come in and work with their kids, tumble coaches particularly, that aren't necessarily on payroll. I would assume most gym owners maybe check their references, they've worked at other gyms, and just assume everything's okay. I knew Mo most of my coaching career, and Mo was an extremely talented tumbling coach. I thought I knew Mo pretty well.
Not only was he grooming us as cheerleaders, he was grooming our parents. He built trust with them. They saw him as a part of the family or a good family friend. So in summer 2000, it was not uncommon for me to spend some or a portion of my day with Mo. And on one of those occasions, I left my house keys in his car. And that particular Monday morning, he decided to use my house keys. He entered my home, and I woke up to somebody touching me. And I remember just kicking because I was scared of who's in my room, because I knew I was home alone. And when I was able to fully get my eyes cleared out, I saw that it was him. And I remember him saying, "I've been touching you for a while. I was wondering when you were gonna wake up." And I didn't say anything. I also was thinking this is my coach. Maybe it's just me being weird. And it wasn't until it happened to another cheerleader, well, something similar, that I was like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy / I'm not wrong. This isn't okay.
It is something against a minor athlete and it has become a part of public record, then we have the authority and the ability to put them on the suspended list. We notify them and we let them know at that same time we are going to put them on the list that you can find at usaff.net. Somebody does not have to be found guilty or convicted of a crime to have violated one of our member policies.
What more needs to happen for this person to be recognized as a predator and a threat to our community, number one. Number two, lists are only as good as their accuracy.
I think it's important if we need to rip it apart a little bit to put it back together. I'm all for it.
It should be, if you want to compete, if you want to be recognized, you need to do these things, because ultimately we want to be producing environments where young adults can learn leadership, they can learn community, they can learn athletic skills in a safe and inclusive environment. That should be the mission of every gym. Point blank, period.
Making noise for what? NCC now. We gonna show you what we're made of. Making noise for what? NCC now. We gonna show you what we're made of. Making noise for what? NCC now. We gonna show you what we're made of. Making noise for what? NCC.
Hello, everybody. It's another Friday night, and this is your Friday Night Habit. And welcome to this very, very interesting episode of Pep Talk. Alam mo naman tayo, we have to bring out all of the issues regarding our sport. And tonight, we're going to do one of the most, accomplished attorneys that I know. So,
accomplished may be an understatement, but
nga, understatement. Medyo volumes yung resume niya. But again, before anything else, good evening. I'm Itos Valdez, and welcome to Pep Talk.
All right. Yes, it's a happy Friday yet again. O diba, isipin nyo, March na. Huli tayong, actually, cool kayo. Huli kayo nagkita Feb, and now it's March. And of course, good evening, everybody. My name is Coach Anya. I am happy to be back, energized for tonight's episode. And of course, we have...
And hi guys, I'm Coach Evan. Yes, happy to be back also. I was here last time. Happy to have Coach Anya with us tonight. Tonight we're going to have a very interesting topic. I hope you have your questions ready. It's please use this chance to actually learn more about the sport and what world we're actually living in and what we have to do to make
and
it
if
better.
you can share that stream to your Facebook pages, to your friends, so that a lot of you guys can watch. And yun nga, like what Coach Evan said, take the opportunity to ask our guest. Ito na yon. So definitely I'll be monitoring our comment section for any of your questions tonight that we can hopefully ask our guest to answer.
Yes. Okay, good. Before that, our early birds, of course. Yeah. Mark Prado. Hi, Coach Anya. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark.
Needed a break.
Yeah.
Hi,
and
Coach
then
Ramon.
Coach
Coach
Ramon, of
Ramon.
course, our good friend.
Thank you, Coach.
Mark is also asking where to get that clip. We can upload it later on our Facebook, so everybody's aware of what the issues are. I think our organization has to deal with the problems as a whole and challenges as a whole. And I think as that lady who mentioned kanina, I think we have to build better and better every single time. So a bigger and stronger organization. Sometimes you gotta weed out the undesirables from the whole organization and the
Yeah.
community para mas malakas. Yun lang gagawin natin tonight.
Yeah, and
So-
I think it's something that we can't avoid. So here we are.
No, we should face it. We shouldn't skirt around
doing
those
something
issues.
about it.
It's a bit sensitive, so yung mga nanonood dyan ng mga high school, you bring your parents in and watch. But it's very important, diba? Very important. Oh,
Yes,
oy,
very, very
nako,
important.
nag-hello siya. Dan
Hi,
Puato.
Coach Dan. Oh my gosh,
Dan
we missed you so
Puato.
much.
Mickey was my batchmate in grade school, Ateneo grade school. Wow.
Wow. Coach
Okay,
Dan,
that's-
haven't seen
See,
you in
that
a
was
while.
our-
sabi ko nga ang daming such a popular guy. Ang daming nagme-message nga sa akin na, blockmate ko siya ng college. Or, ano yan, sikat yan sa law school kasi nun eh. Ganyan.
That's
So, true enough.
Yeah, so see,
But yeah, sorry boss, you were saying.
Yeah, so good. So let's get it started because I want to give more time also to getting to know our special guest because I think he's worth getting to know, lalo na in this community. He's a very inspiring guy. So, but do you have
Super.
recommends tonight? Anybody? Anya will always have recommends.
Pressure.
Yeah, I do have, but it's there in my cabinet. But basically, my recommends this week. It's I don't know if you guys have it already, but it's the airism mask. I know si Coach Evan, I think, has a similar recommends also. But yung airism mask, yeah, for Uniqlo one. So, hindi ko siya isusuot kasi nilalaban ko siya. But it's a reusable mask. You don't need a filter for it. And it's like 590 pesos for 3 masks already. So, very sulit. I think you can reuse it up to like 80 times, I think. Tapos, I used it once when I went out to buy groceries this week. And it's very comfortable. Hindi naman siya nakaka-suffocate. I mean, of course, I needed to spend like an hour, 2 hours in the grocery. So, yeah, sulit. And I think I got my size in medium. Kasi I think small is too small for adults. So, yun lang. Hindi ko na siya ipapakita. Kasi, para
May
malinis na
colors
siya.
ba yan, Coach Anya? Just plain white or...
Yes. Meron. So, there's white, there's light gray, which I have, and then my husband got the black one. So, plain lang siya, and I guess it's very chic. If you're concerned about that. Yeah, kasi nga it's plain lang, it's not too loud or hindi siya masyadong distracting. It serves its purpose. So,
walang demo. Next week may demo na yan. Next week.
yeah, next week.
Before,
Tsaka gagamitin ko pa bukas.
Evan, you have anything?
Same product, different color, but it's over there. So maybe I'll show you guys next time. Unless you want to go there. Layo eh.
Okay, layo. Tamad na yan. Si Evan, mag-coffee ka na. Mag-coffee ka, Evan. You look sleepy. There you go. Say hi to Rowan Beltran.
Hello, Rowan.
Hi, Rowan.
Thanks for joining the
gymnast turned power lifter.
Yeah.
Si Rowan.
Yeah. Ingat kayo dyan.
Very good. Okay, so let us, without further ado, of course, I sent you let's bring in our guest already. No? Is there cheer news? Oh, sorry. There's cheer news pala. So I spoke to Carl Olson, the Secretary General of the ICU, and they are looking at definitely they will have a hard time with the in-person championships, right?
Right.
So they're going to try and do a virtual championship later this year. So I don't know how that's going to work. He will update me. We will have meetings. But again, as always, the ICU news straight from the PCA's mouth, is that they're looking at a virtual championship this year, like everybody else. For
Is
as
it for
long
the
as this
world? Like for everyone? Or is
this is
wow.
for the world. This is for the world.
Wow.
So the ICU World's virtual, except for
God.
us. I told him for us because he was trying to find out how we're doing, and I said for us so far there's no amateur sport, so teams can't get together and practice, even that. So if that's the case, it's hard for us to even commit that we will actually have an entry in the worlds, if ever, because we're not
It's
allowed to
sad.
practice, right?
It's sad to think that there's no way around it. Maybe there is. Maybe we can ask our guest if there's a solution to this problem.
Well, the only one yata is to go against the government and let's see what happens, right? So, but for amateur sports, I think that's pretty clear that there's not going to be. So we'll see. You never know. Things can change as quickly
Yeah.
as the wind blows, diba? We'll see.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
the
may
thing
change
is,
nga siya 1 year ago.
yes, it changed. So that's for cheer news. I have no. I hear things about the UAAP and the NCAA also, but I can't confirm it, so I can't announce those things also. Kumbaga chismis lang siya. But they're also struggling for an opening date even for this season because of everything. I think pro leagues under the GAB, the Games and Amusement Boards, are allowed, but with strict bubble, with strict health protocols, and that includes holding it in a bubble. So that's very different. So anyway, that's it. So before I sent you the very long novel called The Resume of Our Guest. What do you guys think?
Sabi ko nga kanina, boss, sabi ko, I think he's born to win. Parang, pinanalo niya lahat eh. Parang patumbahin na yan. So, sabi ko nga yung understatement yung accomplished. But, I mean, having the chance to talk to this person, it's very, very rare, I think.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy. I'm excited to talk to him about a lot of the things
and
that he do.
Yeah. So for the first, it's a first. Let's list it down. He's a football player, former football player. I think he still plays if he has a chance, when he can, I guess. And then he won how many championships in the UAAP? He was captain. He played pro for a while when there was a pro league here, I think. He's lived in many different places, including Boston, Shanghai. I think he went to Shanghai just to learn Chinese. He's that type of guy.
Wow.
So parang I want to learn Chinese. Punta ko. We will get all of that. So, and then he is a bar top notcher, law school. Bar top notcher. And I think he
Rank one,
graduated also, Anya. I think he graduated, is it cum laude from law school or something?
Salutatorian. Tama ba yung binasa?
Yun lang naman. Yun lang naman. Salutatorian
Yun lang naman.
law.
Maliit na bagay.
Maliit na
Yun lang
bagay.
yung hindi niya napakyaw.
Oo nga.
Oo, nalit lang sa one day.
Salutatorian, and then bar top notcher, and then he wrote a book, which is the only book I know for Philippine law, Philippine sports law, right? And it's available. Of course, we'll talk about it later. Hindi lang yun. He's not. This guy isn't your typical, studios lang na ganon. He's a very creative person. And we will talk about him. He has written a novel, for young adults. He might correct me. Sorry, attorney, if I'm wrong again. But young adult novel.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine, and it's published and for sale on National Bookstore. So tell me, of course, we'll all meet him, and we'll talk about all of these things and the processes that he goes through, and where does he
Yeah.
find the time? Alam ko lang 24 hours in a day. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
really
gusto ko
don't
ng
know what.
tips.
Oh, nga.
Saan nakakahanap ng work-life
How
balance?
do you do this?
How do you do this? And then, so we'll talk about him, guys. Without further ado, our very special guest for tonight, Attorney Micky Ingles.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
Thank you for the super kind introduction.
We're
I
just
think
telling
that's
the
the
truth.
ano.
We're just telling
Yeah,
the
I
truth.
think that's the bare minimum.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Tama
Oh,
naman
he,
lahat, tama naman.
and then sorry, I failed to mention, attorney, and it's my fault that you have a blog, a law blog, right?
Yes, a sports law blog called Bata Sportiva.
Batas Sportiva. And he writes for Spin also
I
sometimes.
write for Spin and for Rappler and for this
Oh my God.
international blog as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Seriously.
What
Seriously.
don't you do, attorney?
Don't you do that, attorney? Anyway, so
I
say
can't
hi to
grow taller.
everybody.
Okay, I'll take that.
Say hi to everybody. Say hi to the new community who, tonight.
Hi, cheer community.
Yeah.
Fighting.
So it's good. Fighting. so good. So tell me about your first I want to where do we start? Ang dami kasi.
Where do we start?
Back UAAP college days, maybe.
Okay, let's start when he was a
Chronological
teenager. Chronological tayo. So you were football. Did you
Yes.
play football since the beginning? Ateneo, grade school,
Yes.
high school, college, all the way?
I started playing football. I was like 3 or 4 years old for Ateneo Football Center, AFC. I
Okay.
played until I was like 10 years old. I took a break for some reasons in grade school. Then I started playing again in high school. And then culmination was my college career where I played for the Ateneo college team. And then we won 3 championships.
Wow.
Free lang.
This is, yun lang. And you were the captain in the last year or the
I was the co-captain with my brother for our first championship. I was in second year that time. And then third year and fourth year, those were our last 2 championships. I was the captain of the team.
wow. Talagang Because celebrated alumni ito si Mickey, no? Everything na athlete and scholar. Talagang student athlete. Guys, makinig kayo ha for success in life.
Kids. Makinig
Kids,
kayo.
please listen. Okay. So I want to say hi lang si Dan. He say, kamusta Mickey? Enchanted Kingdom tayo ulit.
Bad vibes yung Enchanted Kingdom. Nawala ko yung digital camera ko nun eh.
Si Dan.
Hindi pa
So-
using digital camera nun. 97 yun, nawala. Patay.
Ayun, si June Sandoval.
Hi,
Hi,
June.
June. Hi, June.
My former office mate, publisher of Summit Books. Yan.
Yes.
So,
Nice. Oh, good. Nice to have you, June.
nakarating na sa mga Summit friends ko.
Oh, okay, good. So tell us about those championships briefly, just a bit, just so that everybody knows what kind of an athlete and leader you are.
Those were really good championships. So when I was a rookie, we finished second to the last in the UAAP when it came to football. When I was in second year, so that's our first championship, it was really good because we started getting other rookies from Ateneo. And then everything just coalesced. And then we just did really well. And then we played UP in our championship for that first championship. And then I always viewed them as the Detroit Pistons to our Chicago Bulls in the 1990s. Kasi sila yung, parang we had to beat them to show na we were the next talagang dynasty. And
But they weren't, not because they were the bad boys.
Well, in our minds, they were the bad boys. In their minds, we were the bad boys. Ganun naman yung UAP before. Walang friends. So there, second championship, we beat UST. That was exciting kasi it was a penalty shootout. Tas madilim
Oh,
na
wow.
noon, ganyan. Third championship was, for me, it's a historic championship because we didn't lose a single game the entire season. We only conceded one goal the entire season. And then we were supposed to go for a sweep, but LaSalle tied us on the final game. They tied us. They played defensively. Then but we eventually beat them in the championship.
Yeah.
Lugi
So we
ako.
beat them. And then until now, no men's football team in the UAP has won 3 straight championships. So it's the
That's
only
right.
time. So we're very proud of that feat. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just another notch
It's the start.
on your belt. Yes. So that's just another successful. Wait, I want to show a picture from your Instagram. Is this really you? This UAP? Wait, let me show this.
Wait, I kind of figured.
Is this
I kind
you
of
with
know what
hair?
this is. Yeah, with my afro. Yeah, that was me with my afro.
You mean you had an afro before? Huh? Oh,
Yeah, that was
okay.
in freshman year. Kasi alam niyo na, Ateneo High School bawal magpahaba ng buhok. So pag-abot sa college, wala nang gupit-gupitan.
That is
Wala.
I could vouch for Atty Micky's statement.
Diba? And then I found out that my hair was curly and very wavy.
Found out that you were allowed to grow it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I miss that hair. Hindi siya aerodynamic, pero maganda siya tingnan
I
for
know.
pictures.
Maganda siya.
Yeah, I could imagine. Oh, my, parang like, how can you play with that? But
Wala, puro headbands.
yeah, I guess it worked. Got you like three feet the championship. So
Yeah, nakakamiss.
Oo nga. So I just wanted to show because the first time when we guested Mickey on on game what's that? We are game na. I didn't see that picture. I was doing all the research and I didn't see that picture. So now I saw it. So that's fun. Oh, good. So did you always know that you were going to be a lawyer?
Well, it was my default ever since because my dad's a lawyer, so it's something that I knew I was gonna get into eventually. But since I knew it, I didn't focus too much on it when I was in college. So initially, I didn't choose a course knowing that I would enter law. I just chose a course that I wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, well, initially I was in management engineering, but I got kicked out. I failed math, so I had to move.
Wow,
I ended up
you're human. You're
content.
human after all.
you're human after all.
Nice. I didn't fail math. I feel much better now.
So and then what did you end up finishing with?
Communications
your undergrad?
technology. Yeah,
Nice.
communications technology. Yeah.
Nice. And then of course by default you had to try for law school, right?
Yeah. Although I was delayed entering law school. So after I graduated college in 2006, yeah, I moved to Shanghai to study Chinese, and I played football there as well for an international football league. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Not listed
it was-
in the profile we read.
Well,
let me-
it's because it's not like a pro league, but it was an expat league. So as you know, in Shanghai there are a lot of like expats there. So
Right.
I played with them. I was with a team with mostly Italians, and it was very high level. It's not like people just playing Sunday football. We really had trainings, and the level there of football was really high. That they would recruit like professional players from other countries to play for their like bar teams. We call it bar teams because bars would sponsor the expat teams.
Oh,
So it was pretty
okay.
nice. Yeah. I played there
So parang-
mga 5 or 6 games.
Parang nomads, parang gano'n. That
Parang ganon, yeah.
okay.
But super high level. I really enjoyed playing there. I couldn't
Wow.
continue though kasi the venue was very far.
So you went there to study Chinese, specifically to study Chinese for a year. That's it.
Yes. My brother did it initially, so I followed in his footsteps, and it was like a gap year for me to do something that to know myself, alam mo yun, to learn how to do chores, and just discover Chinese. Yeah.
But you know that's a good point. Do you think now, looking back, people should take a gap year?
Yeah, definitely. Because um, there's no real rush in life, diba?
Mm.
Like, I have a lot of friends who didn't pass the bar the first time,
Mm.
and now we don't really know that they didn't pass it because we're all on equal footing now, diba? So parang okay, you lose a year, you lose 2 years,
Mm.
Yeah.
10 years down the road, you don't really think about it. You think about the things that you did when you gave up that extra year to go to school, diba? So
Right.
I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I enjoyed that gap year.
Right, right, and it's good experience. I mean, of course, you don't take a gap year and sit on the couch the whole time,
No,
right? I mean,
that's a
you
wasted gap year.
that's a
Yeah, that's a
waste of
different
life, diba?
conversation altogether.
Parang tamad ka lang. So, but you
Yeah,
took a gap year and said, I'm gonna discover myself and learn Chinese and
yeah.
play for the international football team. That's awesome. So, so good. So after that, came home.
After
Uh,
that, came home. I came home around 2007. Um,
mm,
I still had my fifth year left for UAP, but I was on the
right.
fence whether I should take it or not. When I finally decided that I wanted to join, it was too late. Kasi I didn't enroll for anything. So that was one of my
Mm,
regrets, not playing my fifth year. But during that time, I just helped the Ateneo men's football team. I would play with them like a practice player, a de facto
Mm.
assistant coach. Um, and
okay.
then 2008 came along. That's when I entered law school. And then
Mm,
2007, sorry, when I came back, I started playing for Loyola Football Club. So that's
right.
like
Mm.
our alumni team, yeah, which was in the
Right.
UFL at the time.
Right.
Yeah, you can. I'm sure you can talk about a lot about football in the Philippines, right?
Yeah,
You can
Parang,
talk. It's a whole new episode
yeah,
that
yun
we
nga
yeah,
can
eh.
we
It
can.
has, we have to have a separate episode altogether. And
Yeah,
probably
but
yeah.
but
in a different channel.
yeah,
Nga
different
nga nga
different
lang cheerleaders
program.
dito.
Maghahanap tayo ng program. But
Yeah.
the so Anya, you have one.
Yeah, but I mean, so now you went to law school. So how is it
Yes.
different? Did you come in with any like certain expectations? Since you mentioned that your father was a lawyer, and he might have made cuento about a lot of stories when he was in law school. So like, did you have any set expectations? And how did you manage and graduate a top notcher? Sorry, a graduate salutatorian. Then became top notcher in the bar. Kasi I'm
Well,
sure maraming cheerleaders na naghahanap ng inspiration.
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
well, I entered law school knowing that it would be really hard and difficult because all you hear sometimes from the outside is the horror stories about law school, that the teachers are very strict, they don't care about students, the workload is exage. So I entered it knowing that, or at least my mindset was I just wanted to survive.
Hmm.
But I think ingrained in me because I was an athlete in college, I really had to, I really valued preparation. So, and that's what kept me from getting too stressed. So, my whole goal was to survive. And then I found out after the first semester for freshman year in law school, I was the number one in our batch. So parang, oh, kaya pala to eh. Parang, I guess what we learned in football to keep preparing and training, it will work eventually when you do it for something else like school or academics. So it worked well in the end, yeah.
It worked for you. Okay, so
It
yun
worked
pala ang
Yeah, it
for
tip
worked for
you.
me.
Just go.
to the students watching. To
Look,
reiterate, prepare.
look at that. Look at that picture. Look at that.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nice. That's where I used to hang out in Ateneo University.
Yeah.
Kasi yun yung bench namin, yung walang bench.
yung
Kasi yung floor lang. Tumatambay lang
yung
kami dyan. Sa
tarp.
may escalator.
Tapos yung tarp yun yung tarp.
Yes.
That's
Good
so
memories.
funny. Oh, imagine. Para kang remember Michael Jordan looking up in the Olympics and it's his whole billboard, Gatorade.
Yeah, solid yun, Barcelona.
Oh, Barcelona. And look, this is you. Anyway.
Yeah.
Ganun lang, maliit na bagay. I mean, the way you mentioned it, it's like it's such a small feat, but
Right.
parang to us, we're just so amazed.
I think you have. A,
No,
I think you have a.
yeah.
Yeah. I think you have a friend here. Wait, before you answer that, Dino Lee. Do you know?
Yeah, I was in his podcast a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Idol yan.
Yay.
Hi, Dino.
Never self-negotiate with yourself, or never negotiate with yourself. I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Never give in to the doubt. Yeah. Yan yung mga-
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So good. So,
So
you
law
were.
school
What
was
were you?
fun. Law school was fun.
Okay. Yeah. What was the? Did you go into law school? And I'm curious about this because I went through this. Obviously, I went to the other direction. But when you're going into law school, did you ever doubt that you would finish law school, or did you go into it thinking that, I want to try it out, but if I don't like it, I'll leave, or what? Or there was no choice. You had to finish, and you had to.
Well, there was no doubt that I would finish it. I think it was just a matter if I wanted to finish it or not. Because I remember the week before I entered law school, I entered into podcasting. So that was early, like 2007, 2008. We used to run a podcast that would teach foreigners or like foreigners with Filipino wives or girlfriends how to speak Filipino.
Awesome.
That's cool.
And we were doing quite well. We were the only podcast doing that because it was really early in the podcast game. And I remember the week before our law school started, I got an invitation to do an internship in this huge language learning podcast in Shanghai. So I was debating, should I do that? Should I go to law school? My mom, just go to law school. Para may gawin ka man. So I went to law school. But other than that, I knew. Parang if I was there, I remember telling myself, okay, I'm here na. This is the field that I'm gonna do, right? So whatever I learned from my career as a football player, as an athlete, time to apply it to something different, diba? Parang ito na yun. This is what you're supposed to do now. Galingan mo na dyan.
How did you decide, or like how did you come up with the decision to specialize in sports law? Kasi it's actually until, Boss Itos brought it up with me like a few months ago na there is such a thing na ganun palang specialization. I mean, I don't know the rest, but like I do know like a couple of friends that specialize in different types, but sports law, meron palang ganun. How did you end up doing it?
Well, I got introduced to it by my dad because my dad is only Filipino arbitrator in the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So the Court of Arbitration for Sport, think of it like an international tribunal which deals exclusively with sports issues, right? So if you have a contract issue, for example, like you and your Real Madrid team, you have an issue, you go to the CAS. Or you were accused of doping, you were suspended by your international federation, you appealed it to the CAS, right? So my dad's the only member there. And he would tell me about it. Parang, this is what we do here. We go to Switzerland every 2 years to meet the other arbitrators. So I got intrigued by that there was such a thing called sports law. And then my background as an athlete, it just kind of gelled. Kasi we were always told from a Jesuit point of view in Ateneo that what you want to do, what you should do, your calling, is a combination of what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can sustain you. I was a good athlete. I was a good law student, and I really saw the need to improve Philippine sports through law, right? And hopefully, I get paid for it a lot. In the future. So I really think this is my calling to help Philippine sports through law. And I just enjoy it because I'm a huge sports fan as well, and I think I get to understand the plight of athletes because I went through the same thing that they do, right? It's like me also living vicariously because when I help professional athletes, because it's something I didn't really get to do, I get to see, okay, that's the life pala that I could have chosen if I had the chance. So there. I really like the practice of sports. It's super interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's a topic that we'll touch on later, but I guess now we're still getting to know you. So, like, yeah, ito yung pinapakitang photo ni boss. So, it doesn't stop there, just practicing law. You
Yeah.
authored
Right.
a sports law book.
Yeah, talk about
Now this
that
clear.
now. So laws for the sporty and laws for sports and the
And the
sporty.
sporty.
Yes.
How did that
So
come about? Yeah.
it came about. I wrote it in 2018. It was published in 2019. It's a handbook. It's not a real. It's not like a textbook. So it's more like a guide. The way I wrote it is in a Q&A format, and it has lots of like drawings and pictures, lots of funny and relevant situations. So it's not written like a law book because I wrote it for the athlete. I wrote it for a sports fan. That's why it's for the sports and the sporty. And there's I tried to limit the use of legal language in it because I want everyone to know their rights as an athlete. I want coaches to know their duties, responsibilities, and their rights as well. I want sports federations to know that, look, you have to protect your athletes, but you have to protect your shareholders as well. So it's a book for everyone. I mean, you can read it wherever. You can read it when you're having a haircut, when you're using the bathroom, right? It's super easy reading. And it's very practical.
So this is available everywhere, right?
Yes, it's available everywhere. But if you want it, like super sure that you want it, just go to Rex Bookstore online.
Okay.
So RE.
Cool.
So Rex Bookstore is a textbook publisher for law books. So they're the ones who publish my law books, my legal stuff.
Okay, guys. So for
Yeah.
people
You
listening,
know where
please,
to get it.
yeah, pick up a copy. It's always good to learn something new. It's always good to be informed, especially if you're an athlete or you're part of an organization like us, right? NCC. And so it's good. So laws for the sport and sporty. Wow. So, your name is even Ateneo Ignatius.
Oo nga, no?
Blame my parents.
Jesuit na Jesuit, oh.
It was a Jesuit
Parang-
that named me. Eh.
There's
Okay,
no
kasi,
way you
okay.
would have studied in
Wala.
Lasal. There's no
Kasi
way.
yung funny thing, my family lives in Loyola Heights. So the Jesuit said, magkakaanak kayo, name the kid Ignatius para Ignatius of Loyola Heights. Medyo corny, pero
Pero
gumana siya.
Oh my God.
So,
Well,
wala,
I
hindi
think-
ka pwedeng
Brainwashed.
mag-move.
but talk about
Brainwashed from the womb.
pero talk about destiny, no? I mean, then he
Yeah.
goes on and then he wins 3 championships and then yun na
Yeah.
yun. So ito
Pero
si
boss,
Dan
it doesn't... yeah.
si Dan is so proud of you, Mikey.
Proud of you also, Dan. EK na to, EK.
EK na daw. Dan was one of our first judges and coaches at NCC a long time ago. So when we started,
Dan the
so,
Pep Man. That's how he was
Dan
known
the
in Lasal. Yeah.
in
He's the #1 in bleachers. He could make anybody cheer.
but here's the thing. So we move on from the law and the everything you accomplished unless you have more questions on law, we can go back and forth naman on that. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about your new that thing you have behind you, that Alinam, that novel.
It doesn't stop there pa pala.
Oh, the young adult novel. Oh, wow. So tell us
I knew
all
that
about
was
it.
familiar.
How you got it? Why are you inspired by it? What happened? I mean, what's the
So I started writing this in 2010 when I was in law school. It was a stressful situation because it was the toughest semester in law school, and I was also planning. I was planning our wedding with my wife. So parang dami nangyayari. So I need a break. So I just started writing. It took a while for me to finish it because of law school and being a lawyer. Eventually, I finished writing it in 2014 when I was living in the States. And then it went through a lot of drafts. And then around 2016, 17, I started shipping it out to publishers here and abroad if anyone wanted to pick it up. A lot of rejections, but hopefully, I mean, eventually, and I'm very happy that Summit Books picked it up, like sila Leo. And then eventually it came out this year, 2020. Around October, we launched it, early October. It's a nice book. It's a book about these three high school students, high school juniors, who go out on a urban adventure trying to discover Binondo. And then they fall into like this portal and they end up in Alinam, which is obviously a fictional place, which is based on like colonial Manila, and it has a lot of mythological creatures from our Philippine mythology. So mga aswang, kapres, ganyan, living beside the humans. And then there's lots of stuff happening. There's a conflict between the humans and the natives, or the aswangs, and then political intrigue. And then you get to meet some people that you thought were already dead. Yung pala buhay pa pala sila. So that's the story of Alinam.
That's so
Nice.
cool.
So
Grab a
what
copy,
is-
guys.
This is
Yes,
available
please grab a
National
copy.
Bookstore. National Bookstore to, di ba?
National Bookstore, Summit. It's available on Summit's website. It's available on Lazada and Shopee as well. So you don't have to go out and fear the virus. You can just order it. You can spend 2 days reading it. It's a fun read. And I have my Funko Pop.
I know. I was gonna
my
bring
gosh.
that up. Look at that. Alinam Funko Pop.
Sana lahat ng
Wow.
gusto
Made by
mong
80
break,
customs.
yan.
So that's
Oh,
the
nga eh.
They write a book.
Sana ganun
That's-
din ako mag-break. Pag-break,
Pag
tulog ako.
break ko, parang kakain ako.
Break ko na.
but that's
Need
the
to change my
protagonist,
habit.
right? See Diego. Is that the hero of the book, or
Yes, Diego Domingo. He's the hero of the novel.
is
That's so
can,
cool.
can we say Diego is inspired by the real life Micky Ingles? No?
Yeah, a bit. He has big hair, a bit chubby in high school. Likes wearing Hawaiian t-shirts. Very awkward around girls.
No, but the story and what, because I see some from I see Sandman by Neil Gaiman and all of those things. So you're really
yeah,
into fantasy.
Yes, all my graphic novels are there.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm inget with the Funko collection.
Wow.
Yeah,
so that's
it's inspired by like my love for urban fantasy, Harry Potter, Neil Gaiman, those kinds of books. When I was reading those books, I always wondered, sana may ganito based naman sa Philippines, so we can show our Philippine culture to people abroad, right?
right.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm trying to tap like international bookstores to carry the book, or at least consign it. Para at least our Filipino communities abroad can read it.
Right.
Yeah, I think we'll appreciate that a lot.
I watched the YouTube of the launching of Alinam. And you're being interviewed by, I guess, someone from National Bookstore. I'm not sure who he was.
No,
But-
he's my editor, si Leo.
Si Leo.
So Leo.
Leo, taga-national ka
Oh,
na
that's
pala.
it. So it doesn't know, but there was a section there. Can you take us through? It's a teachable moment where you were trying to get yourself published, and you had so much rejection. That's that in New
Yeah.
York, and sabi mo they were very hard. These edit or the
Yeah.
agents, was it agents or something?
Yeah, foreign agent. So
Yeah.
if you're an author with no agent or with no publisher, and you wanna publish it in like publishing houses abroad, the first step you do, you can't send your manuscript to a publisher. You have to go through agents. And then sila yung titingin ng libro mo, and then sila yung mag-ship around. So I started shipping it out to foreign agents, and then rejections galore. And then there was this one agent who rejected it and then started tweeting about it pa. Na parang, why? Ba't may ganito pa? Ba't may prologue pa? Ganyan. Of course, all in English. He didn't name me, but obviously he was talking about me because my book had a prologue, but now wala na siyang
Right.
prologue because of that. So I kind of learned from
Right.
him.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave up looking for foreign agents. Then when I started giving it around here, rejections also, like there was this big publishing house who rejected it outright, said the writing was very clunky. And that was my mistake because I gave them the first draft without editing. I mean, when you're so excited that you have something you want to show it.
Yeah.
That was a mistake, diba? And then there was another publisher naman who I gave it to them. They really liked it, but their comment was, we think it's too smart for the audience. So I think the implication was, can we dumb it down a bit, or can we have a different media for it? I didn't want, because my whole point was I want to show that writing about the Philippines and Philippine mythology and YA can be like international and world class, right? So I didn't want to compromise on that. And that's why I'm very happy that Summit picked it up, because they kept the vision. They got the artist I wanted for the covers, Eureka Diaz, who was with me ever since I started writing and publishing it on Wattpad. And they understand what we wanted and what I wanted for it. So I'm very happy for them.
Yay, proud ex-Summit here.
Wow, nice.
Yeah,
Very good.
when you mentioned it earlier, boss, Alinam, I was thinking, parang nakita ko na yun before. Like, somebody mentioned it, tapos na-realize ko, okay. Nung nakita ko na yung cover kanina ng pre-prod, alam ko na yan. Yung nakilala ko na sino publisher niya.
nga. Good. It's amazing, no? You have all of this, and is it? My sense, and you can correct me on this. You don't really sit and say, "I'm bored. I have to do something else." Okay, I want to do this, and you go down and tutuloy mo lang until matapos. And then the next one, maybe I should do this. So it's not like you had it planned in your bucket list. I'm going to write this, I'm going to do this.
No, although my problem now is finding, there are a lot of things I really want to do. Like I'm writing the second novel, the sequel of this. Of course, I'm focused with law firm work, ganyan. My difficulty is trying to give myself some downtime to catch up on like K-dramas and stuff. So that's the problem I'm having now. Parang break ka muna. Pero parang, no, I have to do this.
Bakit, coach tuloy, bakit attorney? Kasi pag nagsimula ka ba ng K-drama, dire-diretso na yan? Hindi ka na matutulog, gano'n?
Hindi, nagigilty ako na hindi ako nagtatrabaho. Or I'm not being productive. I know that's bad pero parang naging habit na, parang it's been wired na talaga.
Masyado ka nang nasanay.
that can also be useful for inspiration, for more novels, right? I mean,
definitely.
Like your travel, and you also mentioned, of course, I was watching the whole interview with Micky, with Leo, and he was mentioning about Shanghai and how it inspired Alinam.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so because Alinam it's based in an old map of Manila, but I wanted it to be a bit different. So if you look at the history of Shanghai is different areas also. You have the French concession, you have the Bund where the English used to stay. I wanted the same for Alinam. So I have these little areas, because the book comes out with a map, like any fantasy book, and then you will see the areas there. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Wow. If we only had the resources, I guess, no, we should start doing a screenplay already and start world building for those things, right?
Fun nun, no?
Alinam.
Especially we did like a fantasy film in MMFF just last year. Merong lumabas, diba? So,
but that's the hope. I've been giving it to like production studios to see what they think about it, and hopefully they pick it up. Kasi naka-inspire yung what happened with Trece. Now it's going to be picked up, diba? And they're going to show it on Netflix.
Right.
I mean, that's the hope naman, but other people get to see it on a different medium.
Right.
Nako, if that happens, add to another notch on the belt.
Yeah.
Naman,
The widening belt.
the widening belt.
Patay tayo dyan.
So So aside from all of your passions, no, obviously, it seems like you have a work life, except that sabi mo nga, you need downtime to sort of smell the roses, as what you speak, siguro. Um, but besides that, what else is on your list of accomplishments that you want to do? I mean, you want to get into.
Uh, well, I really want to build a sports law practice here in the Philippines. So I'm working
Mm.
hard for that with our law firm, the law firm of Ingles Laurel Calderon. So I work with my
Mm.
dad. It's a family firm.
Right.
It's been around for the past 25, 30
Mm.
years, but we mostly
Mm.
focus on foreign investment. So it's a business firm. I'm building up the sports law practice there. And in the same time, my teaching in the Ateneo Law School takes up a lot of my time as well.
Mm.
So those are the two things that really keep me busy every day. And then like
Wow.
writing that just goes in the side when I have pockets of time.
But you have a family, right? You have a wife
Yes,
and
yes.
kids.
I have a 1 year and 1 year 6 months na baby. So medyo
You know, but
medyo,
it,
With
medyo
the words
kagulo.
yun siya.
you know, it's a lesson for, I guess, all of us, but of course for the youth, no. That how old are you, Mickey? If you don't mind.
37.
He's
37.
37, and if you list down all the accomplishments, and then tuloy-tuloy pa siya. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no, guys, for everybody watching here. Don't ever stop.
Yeah.
You just have to
I
keep
mean, you just
going.
put your mind to it, di ba? It's
Yeah, and you don't. I guess you. Well, ako lang, I'm saying you don't have to put your passions on the side necessarily. Like you can do this, but you have to find a way to also insert your passion because you got to be passionate about something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It can't just be
yeah.
all work and all of
agree.
that. So I saw something on your Instagram, which is it a presentation? There is something. Let me show it here so you can explain it, and I think it will lead to the next session, the part two of our program.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay,
Um, so
could you tell us about this?
that was a presentation I gave for the Games and Amusement Board. They had their second professional summit a couple of months ago.
Mm.
So Kara, one of the people from Gab, asked me, "Hey, you want to give a presentation on um, protecting the female athlete?" Because I think what led to it was there are a lot of sexual harassment going on, especially for like esports players who stream themselves playing. Diba? Ang daming mga bastos na comments going along.
Right, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I
okay,
see.
okay.
So doon nagsimula yun eh. And then
Mm.
I think someone in Spin interviewed me about it. And then Kara heard about it and said, "Hey, do you want to give a presentation?" Especially now that you have professional leagues for women coming up. Diba yung basketball professional league and then yung PVL
Mm.
professional na siya.
Right.
Mm.
And I was telling her, yeah, when it comes to professionalizing a sport or just growing sport in general, you have you have to realize that law is one of the foundations to make it prop up and make it sustainable. And one of the aspects of law that can help it prop up is protecting the athletes. And, diba, I mean, women athletes are always given the short end of the stick because of our patriarchal society or because of
Right.
the gender roles that have been thrown
Right.
by men and by sometimes even by other women
Yeah.
at girls, diba?
Yeah.
Raising them up. So this is just like a small part of our advocacy in the firm, and my personal advocacy to lift women's sports and female sports in general in the Philippines.
Wow. So it's perfect. So I wanted to ask based on that, how can you? Okay, so we're going out to the next part already. No? What does the law say about what constitutes harassment? What exactly constitutes harassment in terms of, is it only can it only be male female? Can it be male male, female female? I mean, what does the book say about it?
Well, it's defined by the anti-sexual harassment law. So sexual harassment is basically when someone in authority or someone who has influence or moral ascendancy over another asks or demands or requests for a sexual favor as a precondition of granting a promise or granting something beneficial, right? It's sexual harassment even if the other person does not accede to the request. For example, a coach tells a student, parang, oh, gusto mo pa ng playing time? O tara, let's do something when everyone goes home. And the student says, no, I'm not going to do that. That's already sexual harassment because the mere fact that the coach, someone in a position of moral ascendancy and authority, asks that student for a sexual favor in exchange for something, that's already sexual harassment. So it can occur in the work environment, in an educational environment, in a training environment. That's all sexual harassment.
So does it have to be an exchange? Na parang if you do this, if you don't do this, this will happen. What about, let's say, catcalling or hey, I like your outfit today? Is that constitute sexual harassment?
Well, sexual harassment would.
It's a text,
Go ahead.
for example. Like,
Yeah, it's a text.
yeah.
So the one I was talking about, that's the first form of sexual harassment when you do it for something else. The second form of sexual harassment is sexual advances which start to cause a hostile and intimidating environment for the other person. So, dun papasok yung biglang nagtatrabaho ka, bigla kang minasahe sa likod, just naiilang ka, ayaw pa rin. So that can constitute sexual harassment. And then catcalling, commenting about what you're wearing, commenting about your appearance, consistently asking for your personal details kahit ayaw mo ibigay, stalking, messaging you incessantly. Those may not be sexual harassment per se kasi baka naman it's not within the environment of work, education, or training. But that falls under the new law that was passed a couple of years ago, Safe Spaces Act, yung bawal bastos. So those are still illegal.
Okay.
So, for example, here's a cheer, diba? Marami nangyayari, and we've seen it like sa mga UAAP. The cheer dancers are there, diba? Dancing. Syempre, they're wearing their uniforms. And then some dirty old alumnus will start whistling at them, diba? And say, parang, oh, ganyan-ganyan pa yan, diba? Parang, blah, 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 saying all these lewd stuff. That's not sexual harassment per se, kasi it's not within that environment. But it goes against safe spaces.
Yeah.
Bastos pa rin siya, and that goes against the law. In those instances, the Safe Spaces Act actually says you can actually have a citizen's arrest, have a security guard arrest that person, dalhin ka agad sa police. Kasi the crime happened then and there. So that's a way to protect them.
Right.
Yeah.
But
that's very common.
Yes.
I have to say for myself, mga nagpapapicture ng hindi mo gusto. Tapos yung picture galing pa sa angle na, or yung angle na medyo pailalim. Kasi nga, maikli skirt namin. It's real.
God.
Yeah.
It's real.
It still happens. Yeah, it still happens. But I wanted to say, is that on the other side of the coin, can you weaponize that, the safe spaces thing? Meaning...
Weaponize
as in, like, say, you don't like this guy, or girl, and you say, hey, safe spaces, you're harassing me, but you're really not doing anything overboard or anything like that. I mean, you get it? Parang, parang so what's the middle ground? Because then it will be he said, she said, right?
Yeah, true. I understand where those sentiments come from because I mean, every time someone comes out on Twitter and says, look, this happened to me, #MeToo, someone will say not all guys, right? I mean, okay, that's not really the point. The point is it happens to these women and it's focused on them. So yes, it can be weaponized. because just like any law can be weaponized by someone with ill intent to use it for the purpose which isn't really the purpose why it's made.
Right.
But I would think that the law already sets good standards to weed out those who weaponize it and weed out those who really need protection from catcallers, dirty old men, and all these kinds
Right.
of maniacs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good to know this so that you can use it to protect yourself in that in
Yes.
instance. So
Yeah.
not necessarily bring them to jail or something like that, but to protect yourself, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
say if you don't stop doing that, I will use the safe. What do you call it? Safe
Safe
Spaces
Safe
spaces.
Act.
Spaces Act. Yeah.
The Safe Spaces Act. So guys, and everybody listening, you can use that now. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's part of the sexual harassment. So what when it becomes like a sexual favor in exchange for it, not even a favor, but you're told if you don't do this, you lose your scholarship.
Hey.
From a
Dark.
coach to a kid, because the situation is, yeah, you go there because it's. I just have to give context. We've been there was an incident which was captured on ABS-CBN News earlier. I think I sent you the link about a coach who had been accused by one of the players, his athletes, of doing exactly that, holding the scholarship and the as hostage if he didn't you know
Continue giving sexual
yeah
favors. Yeah.
or continue or do yeah to accede to give in to what the coach wanted, and the coach was put in jail and the NBI and all of those things, but he's out.
Oh.
So going from that, since that happened, and I don't know if Leo's listening, no, from Spin Magazine. Thank you very much if you're here,
He's
and for
here.
supporting and
Yeah, he
supporting us,
commented.
because we 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 uh, we released a statement and we asked the school to release a statement also. Of course, the school was very hands off. Siyempre, sabi nila, what happens outside is not, I mean, it's a very general, very, statement. But ours was to protect our athletes because we're in this sport, right? So we had to, and we were compelled to release a statement. And since then, um, personally, I've been approached by several narrating their own experiences of
Yeah.
exactly that.
May
And the way
hashtag me
they,
too rin pala.
pero
Dito.
this happened between the coach and they're both men, right? So what happens is that they were scholars, but and the coach would just like the video we showed earlier, that the coach would come to their dorms, and sometimes they would be asked to drink with them, and other people like alumni members and all would be there, and it would turn into alam mo na.
Yeah.
And he was distraught, and but he's not a minor, and but he is the athlete and this was the coach. So he and these were people that will remain anonymous for now, no, but um they would say they were distraught, and they would say, what do we do? And of course I couldn't answer them because I'm not a lawyer, right? And there are different aspects to it. So I would like to ask you, attorney, what advice would you give someone who approaches you? Of course you're a lawyer, but doing this, because given the fact that, for example, their scholarship depends on the coaches, they would hold the scholarship hijacked.
Yeah.
They would tell the school, now this kid isn't performing, let's let go of his scholarship, and he has to go all the way back to the province to his parents. They're
Explaining. You have
poor.
to explain.
What do you explain to them? And
Yeah.
he will never get the chance to train, be an athlete in Manila anymore. So
Yeah.
those are the situations that I've come across, and they just approached. So which had turned out to be this episode. That's why I thought of you, and we were discussing it and thought maybe we should have an attorney here. So, what remedies then should the kid have as a student
Yeah.
when, let's say, the school also is not too helpful with that? I mean, first, I guess the first thing is the school, right? But then,
Yeah, definitely. Usually when someone approaches you and you want to
Mm.
give advice in those matters, you tell the student first. Tell the school, because the
Mm.
coach isn't the highest person in the school. May mga
Right.
boss yan eh. There's an athletic director.
Right.
There's the dean of student affairs, right?
Mm.
That you can talk
Yeah.
to. You can talk to your guidance counselor, right?
Right.
So talk to them. The school should first of all, the school should have a mechanism that would allow reporting of
Right.
these kinds of instances,
Right.
right? If the school doesn't have, I mean, they should have, because that's part of the law. Sexual harassment in schools, the access, you have to have a committee on decorum and investigation, which should investigate these matters, right?
Mm.
So the student should have a chance to go and report it within the school. Tell it to the dean, the principal, ganyan.
There has to be a
And
venue
at the
for him. Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be a venue. I mean, that's part of safety in sports, diba? There
Right.
has to be a venue for the students to report. There has
Mm.
to be a venue for them to talk about their experiences without fear of being retaliated by the coach, right? Without fear of their scholarship being hung up on above their heads. Because if the student is scared, and I understand why they're scared, that the scholarship will be taken away,
Right.
it will be helpful to give the student a wider perspective. Kasi as an athlete, like when I was a college athlete, pinaka-authority namin nun was our coach. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't really care about the athletic director kasi he wouldn't
Yeah,
go
you
naman
don't-
to our practices, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
for you, pinaka-boss mo talaga yung coach mo. But if you tell the student, look, yung coach mo na yan, may boss pa yan eh. Diba? Pwede mo siyang isumbong to someone higher in your school
Right.
who can say na, hey, coach, mali yung ginagawa mo, tatanggalin ka namin. And I think the wider perspective for the student will allow the student to say and to see that the coach really doesn't have the entire say when it comes to the scholarship.
Mm.
Diba? Kasi,
Yeah.
I mean, if the athletic director is a matinong athletic director, and then the student goes to the athletic director and says what's happening, the athletic director would obviously tell the student and should tell the student, we're not going to take out your scholarship because your coach is harassing you. Diba? I mean,
Mm.
Yeah.
that, diba? That's how it should go.
Right.
But for example, the school is covering it up or nag-hands off sila because they're scared of legal liabilities.
Right.
Well, they should be scared of the legal liabilities because as a
Yeah.
school, you are responsible for your employees
Right.
vicariously. If your employee does something, you're liable for that under
Right.
Section
Command
Article
responsibility.
2180 of the Civil Code, diba?
Right.
And under the Sexual Harassment Act, if the school doesn't do anything based on a reported sexual harassment report, the school can be sued for damages as well.
Mm.
Right? So the school shouldn't make a hands off. I don't know why some schools do that, but they should be more proactive and offer the students help because students need
Oo
help.
nga.
Kasi,
Yes.
diba, that's the whole point of the Sexual Harassment Act. There's someone in a moral, diba, who has moral ascendancy over you. Kasi naharas ka. Siyempre takot ka. Diba, boss mo yan eh.
Mm.
Pero
Like in the
attorney, I have
video
a
that you
question.
showed a while ago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Diba the video that you showed a while ago, the kid was
Right.
sleeping and then the coach started molesting her. And then
Right.
yung una niya naisip, coach ko yan eh. There must be something weird about me. So
Right.
Yeah.
imagine a
Yeah.
culture when they're being groomed that they don't know it's wrong na pala.
Right.
Because yun yung mundo nila. If you give them an avenue to speak out and see that it's not the entire thing, then it might be helpful for them. And that's the responsibility of the school.
Right.
Yeah. Yung question ko here, attorney, like,
Go
so
ahead.
if we you advise that you come to the school, whether to the athletic director or your guidance counselor, if yung mga sexual favors na yun, let's say, happened outside of the school, they're still
It's the same.
responsible
It's the
because
same.
they're still employees, right?
Yeah, and coach mo pa rin siya eh.
Yeah.
Like, yung analogy dyan, if you're on a field trip and then your teacher harasses you in the field trip, does that mean wala nang responsibility ng school over the teacher? No, it's still a school sanctioned event. The relationship between a coach and a student
Right,
and the
right.
student athlete, di naman
Right.
nawawala yun kung they're not
Yes.
within campus, diba?
Yeah.
So it's still there.
How about
Right.
if cases, because cheerleading is a small group, I'd say, still very close. You know, some coaches do meet other students and other teams. And I think one of the cases that Bossitos will show later is sort of related to this. What if it's a person outside of your school, a coach from somewhere else, maybe a hired coach somewhere just focusing on maybe, let's just say, gymnastics only, or some other talent that, you know, comes in and does this to the students? Do the students still get protection from the school, or do they go
Yeah.
somewhere else?
They can get protection from the school, yeah.
Or the person is not from, has nothing to do with
mean,
your school.
Who hires the coach? Is it the school or just the athletes? Who
There are
pays the
cases
coach?
where you deal. Oh, you go to the employer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, you follow the money and then you try to punish that person by cutting off his source of funds. Kasi like kami sa football before, we had specialized coaches for like goalies, diba? May mga practice players kami. Nagbabayad nun yung Ateneo, right? Or yung mga sponsors namin. If they do something wrong, our way of getting leverage over them is going to the person who pays them and say, can you stop paying this person and stop hiring this person because he's molesting us, right? So number one, cut them off, keep them away from the student athletes. And number two, sumbong mo sa police. Diba? I mean,
Yeah. And what do you have to have when you go to the police? Like, I mean, I'm sure, I think yung next na naman dito is, where's your proof?
yeah.
How do you go about proving that my coach is, harassing me left and right?
Affidavit. Normally when you go to the police, they take your statement,
Right.
but you can also go through a lawyer first, and then the lawyer will help you draft an affidavit, and then you can give it to the police. Or, I mean, if it's happening continuously, lalo na when it comes to like sliding into DMs or texting, screenshots,
Right.
diba? I mean, mga ganyan. I mean, things that you would do to catch like a cheating boyfriend is something you can also do to catch a molesting coach.
Yeah, so the proof will have text messages, all of those things that can be used as
Yeah.
proof.
Yeah. Or CCTV footage sa dorm, pwede ba yun?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, pwede yan. Yeah.
Yeah, so assuming these kids, let's say attorney, he gave, let's say that situation I was telling you about. He gave in first couple of times. Pero ayaw na niya. Is he less does he have less standing because the first two times he gave in or something?
No. I mean, the basic premise and principle when it comes to rape cases and sexual abuse cases is consent. So you may have consented to the first 2,000 times, but on the 2001st incident, you said no. Tas pinilit ka pa rin. That's rape. That's sexual assault. And then it gets even the law when it comes to minors pa nga. Because like I'm sure a lot of things happen to minors, especially in the video that you showed.
Right.
If you're under 18, and even if your sexual relations with a coach or someone is consensual, but that coach made you consent to it because of coercion, intimidation, or influence, it might not be rape, but it can be considered sexual abuse under the Child Sex under the Child Abuse Act. And that's still a crime. Right? Kasi malamang sasabihin ng coach, hindi, may consent naman eh. Matanda na yan, 17 na yan eh. Number one, mali, 18 dapat. But sabihin niya, hindi, 17 na yan, may alam na yan, nanonood na yan na kung ano-ano, nag-consent yan. It's not the point. The point is, if under 18, and then you coerce, intimidated, or you influence that minor, it will still be considered sexual abuse under the Child Abuse Act. Even if it was consensual. There's a Supreme Court case na about that. So I mean, hands off.
Yep. Pero you mentioned attorney rape. So
yes.
What can we, for everybody's reference, how do we differentiate sexual harassment and rape? And in terms of,
sexual
assault, gravity,
sexual assault,
and rape. Kasi I remember like when boss was talking to me about it, like Google, pero di naman ako lawyer, so better if it comes from a lawyer. And in terms of like the gravity of the crime, mas mabigat pa rin ba ang rape versus sexual assault?
So rape is like, I mean, we all have a basic understanding of what rape is. Rape is when a man has carnal knowledge of a woman without that woman's consent, either through force, intimidation, coercion, when that woman is unconscious, or when it is because of a grave abuse of authority over the woman, or even if it is with the consent of the woman, but the woman is under 12 years old, that's statutory rape, right? So that's rape. If it's a man inserting his private genitalia into the vagina of a woman. Sexual assault naman can happen between a man and a man, a woman and a woman to a man, because sexual assault is two kinds. Inserting a man's private area, private genitalia into the mouth or anal orifice of someone else. So yun, pwedeng man to man. Right? And then another instance of sexual assault is inserting any object into a woman's vagina or a man's anus or either's anus. So yun naman can be a woman towards a woman, right? Like may pinasok na ganyan dun sa vagina ng girl. So that's sexual assault. When it comes to the penalties, I think rape, our traditional view of rape, is still punished more than sexual assault. But sexual assault is still punished, I think, if I'm not mistaken, mga 12 years minimum, I think, in prison. Yung rape, minimum niyan 20 years. Yeah. Reclusion perpetua. Yeah. So there's still grave crimes. And people can say, hindi, pareho naman kaming lalaki. It's still a crime. Right?
So without consent, and with consent, that's coercion, and that's can that case be sexual assault? No.
So yung with consent, it will be sexual abuse if the victim is below 18 years old, kasi it will go under the Child Abuse Act.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if done in that context, na coach and athlete, pero hindi 18. I mean above 18.
Above 18, it can be sexual assault.
Sexual assault. Okay.
Kunyari, hindi talaga siya nag-consent, tapos bigla siyang ginanon. I mean. And then a lower crime naman, in terms of penalty, is kunwari walang insertion of anything. Kunwari groping, or hinipuan ka, ganyan. There's a crime for that, acts of lasciviousness. So dito pumapasok yung mga lewd acts without the consent of another person.
So marami. There's a lot.
And just because it's a less punishable crime doesn't mean pwedeng gawin. Still a crime, guys.
Yeah.
The issue that I think a lot of victims have is maybe they do know that it's wrong, right? But like you said, for it to be dealt with, or for it to be addressed, they first have to come out and
Right.
give a statement, do something. They
Yeah.
have to state it happened. I think the concern of a lot of these victims are they're afraid of their reputation. They don't want to be that person who brings it out. Will I have something in court, or will I have like my name somewhere? I don't want people to know that this happened to me. What would you tell these guys? Like, is there any way to do it fully confidentially, or like what do you advise these kinds of these people?
Well, because some have come up to us before and asked us the same question. But if you wanna, because you have to make statements, right?
Right.
And then you have to face the person in court.
Yeah.
Diba? You have to accuse, ganyan, ganyan. What we usually tell them is that you're not alone. It's happened to a lot. And you speaking out will give courage to other people who are afraid to speak out, right?
Correct.
An example for that yung sa US gymnastics, diba? With what happened to the sexual abuse cases there.
Right.
One
Over 20
gymnast
years.
spoke up, diba? And then another gymnast spoke up, and then another gymnast spoke up, and then sila Simone Biles started speaking up, and then everyone spoke up, right? And I think it was very courageous, especially for the first few gymnasts who spoke out.
Yeah.
Kasi dun pa pumapasok na parang, ba't ikaw lang yung nagsasalita? Totoo ba yan or nag-iimbento ka lang? Right?
Right.
And I think you just have to support people who speak out. Diba?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's really scary with, lalo na because you're speaking out against someone in authority, your coach, who may make or break your career, di ba? Tapos, sasabihin ng mga tao dyan, parang, ay, kawawa naman yung reputation niya, mabait naman siyang tao, marami naman siya napanalunan na championships para sa school.
Yeah.
Sounds so familiar.
That's not really the point, di ba?
Yeah, that's not, if it's wrong, correct.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem also that I know of is that when people do come out, and it does take a lot to actually say something. Sometimes the people that they approach, those people in authority who are supposed to catch these people, like maybe police, simple reports. Let's say you're out with friends, right? You go to the police because you had an experience with sexual abuse or sexual assault. Sometimes the same people who are supposed to take your side of things will be like, baka kasi it's what you're wearing. Ano ba yung ginawa mo at the time? Ang ikli kasi ng shorts mo. So like, it's annoying to know that there's people like this, but is there like, if they do get to the point that they prove it, managot din yung that policeman who ignored me, made fun of me previously, parang ganun ba? Like, what do you tell these guys? Because voicing out the first time already is very difficult. Being shut down that time, they might not even try again. So, is there anything in the law that helps cases like this, or it's just really a matter of training
That's a super difficult question. Kasi that's what society is giving us right now, right? And it's always hard for us to go against the grain, right? And diba, to be different. Lalo na when the people who are supposed to help you aren't helping you. Tapos minamalit ka pa. Pag ganyan, get a good advocate for yourself. I mean, get a good lawyer who understands your plight, who will fight for you and will support you, diba? And believes in you. I think having a good small support circle to help you fight the good fight.
Yeah. Attorney, somebody sent in a question.
Sure.
Of course, through our account. So is the law specific or non-specific in terms of gender? Is the rape law specific to man and woman, or is gender unimportant?
But like I mentioned a while ago, yung technically rape, it's man to woman lang. Kasi it requires na magka carnal knowledge of a woman. But when it comes to sexual assault, doesn't matter. Because it's either the insertion of a penis into the anus or a mouth, so that can be man to man. Or it can be the insertion of an object or an instrument into either a vagina or an anus. Diba? Pag ganon, it can be man to man, woman to woman. Diba?
If above the age of consent, the qualifying for force has to exist, right? Meaning
There,
it's there has to be no consent, even if it's
yeah,
above 18, right?
there must be force, threat, intimidation, or the other party must have been deprived of consciousness, or it must be through fraudulent machination or grave abuse of authority. Yun yung mga instances when it becomes rape.
Wow. Guys, we really these kids need a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but at least with attorney Mickey, he's advising us what can be the remedies,
Yeah.
or
The
what
steps
can
that
be
we
the
can take.
charges. Yeah. So it's something we can tell them, go back to them and say, look, this is the case based on what you're telling me, but we have to do this. But yun na nga sabi ni Evan, attorney, a lot of them are from the provinces and they're scared. And they're nakakaawa kasi this is a chance for them to study in Manila, scholarship. And then some coaches and some people take advantage of them. And they know that. So, but anyway, we're here to protect them because that's our community. And
Boss,
that's good.
I think like when you mentioned like they need a lawyer, I think the lawyer talaga comes last. What they need talaga are good people around them, and that starts with the coaches. Kaya it's really frustrating for me eh. Diba? Parang given na dapat na matino ka dapat na tao eh.
Na coach, right? Correct.
Then you're doing it, you're abusing, you're creating this cycle. It really irks me.
Yes, it's really, that's why we've been like this for a while, attorney, because I think attorney is frozen.
Yeah, for a bit.
So attorney, you wanna come back and you can.
Yeah. Actually, boss, may mga nag-PPM sa akin ng questions. I guess nasa-shy din to ask on air. So I guess when yung connection ni attorney Mickey gets better, I'll read it out.
But it's a good. I mean, at least we consulted a lawyer on air, and I hope the people watching, our audience members, get a good idea and have an idea already. Na you do not think that wala kayong laban, right?
Yeah.
Never think.
Yeah, sige, boss.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think yun nga, parang
sorry.
It's okay. Parang guys, you have to remember then na you're not alone. I mean, I know it's cliche, pero especially in the cheer community na, we have here NCC that could definitely, help you steer you in the right direction at the very least. Diba? So, yun. So, I was mentioning attorney earlier nga that people are sending me private messages instead of putting it out sa comments ng live stream. So, I'll read it out.
Go ahead.
So the first one is, ano ang protection ng complainant in terms of things like privacy? Para dun sa mga nahihiya kasi nga, syempre, may stigma pa rin siya. Like, related to what Evan mentioned.
I think if you're a minor, they have to redact your name sa mga kaso. So, kung magiging complainant, AAA, BBB. I'm not that updated when it comes to court procedures, when it comes to victims above 18, kung nare-redact yun. But either way, you still have to file a complaint. So you have to put your name in that complaint.
Okay.
But court records naman, like, sensitive court records aren't open to the public. So you can have a motion naman, parang can we keep this confidential?
Okay. So at least that gives a little bit of peace of mind for those na who wants to like move things forward that way. And then yung next is there like some sort of time limit in terms of filing case na parang, is it, let's say if something happened to me, let's say in my cheerleading years, which is like eons ago,
Yeah.
Can I can I do it now?
Is
Like
it
in the
called
present?
the statutes
Prescriptive
of
period.
limitations?
Yeah, statute of limitations.
Yeah.
I have to get back to you on that. I think when it comes to rape, I think it's 20 years. Although, don't quote me on that.
Mhm.
20 years ata yun eh. Baka
Mm.
10. I'm not sure. Pero may mga, I mean, I can check the law easily for you guys if you want me to send you an email regarding that. But there are statute of limitations. But the principle there, the more heinous the crime, the longer the statute of limitations.
Okay.
The other thing also, attorney, that I found when I was talking to these guys, was that they don't want anybody to go to jail. That's not their objective. They just want to keep stay in the school and do their scholarship and play and do cheerleading.
Yeah.
So that's why they don't want to rock the boat in that sense, but they don't want it to keep going on.
Yeah.
They want to stop that kind of thing, and definitely it's sad. It's very sad, but in this industry, in our community, the coaches are very, especially for the schools that are not Ateneo and LaSalle. You understand? The coaches are very powerful.
Yeah.
And they know this. So cheerleading is not like a basketball, volleyball, or football, or any other big sport. It's still in its parang trying to be recognized as mainstream, even if it is. So even the schools don't look at it as anything as important as the other sports. So one of our team captains, also from Ateneo, is going into law school.
Hey, 20 years.
Yeah. So Arthur Ang, right? 20 years, Article 93. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Arthur.
he's already talking
Thanks,
like a
Arthur.
lawyer. So
I'm proud of you.
yeah. So Art.
I hope you pass my class if you're my student.
Okay, tama na panonood. Aral ulit. The joke lang. Baka may quiz ka about this episode.
So yun. So I guess we'll come back and forth on this. But even now I'm more confident in asking them to come forward. Even more, because now we can already say, okay, this is what it is. This is what we can do. And definitely, guys, for all those listening here, the NCC and the PCA, as the national governing body, is always here to help you as an athlete. And how about the school, Mickey, attorney? What is their liability and what is their not to say that we're file charges, but they're also liable for this, right? I mean, they're responsible for this whole.
Yeah.
Lalo na if they cannot just say, "Oh, we wash our hands," because that didn't happen within the confines of the school, which is really right.
So under the Sexual Harassment Act, the employer or the school will be liable if they don't do anything. So that's damages. I mean, they won't be put to jail, but they will have to pay monetary damages to the victim, right? When it comes to them not doing anything, or like what I mentioned a while ago, under the civil code, employers are liable for the acts of their employees. So vicarious liability, except there are like certain exceptions, but the general rule is they are liable. So kung may gawin yung empleyado, the employer can also be dragged into it as the boss, right? And if the lawyer of the victim gets to craft a theory that the employer knew it all along,
wow,
then you can go straight against the employer as well. Diba? Like, I mean, sinumbong na sa inyo ilang beses, wala kayong ginawa.
Right.
Diba?
Yeah.
And then it causes you further damage, then you can sue the school as well.
I wanted to take it to a bigger bigger playing field, so to speak. But recently there were things that came out, parang nag-Me Too movement in certain schools, like certain all-girls high schools recently, and it was in all of the blogs and all of those things that they were being groomed and whatever by their teachers. I don't know what happened to those cases, if ever there were cases. Of course, it was in social media. No? But do we what in that case, because these are really minors.
Yeah.
These are all minors, and what is the do the kids have to file a case if nothing was done except parang nangliligaw?
Or
Well,
to add to that
creepy naman.
question.
No, it's really yun na kasi nothing was done because nothing physical because they're all minors. But the case was a teacher would be messaging the kids at late at night, and yes, exactly. But it happened, and parang later on making suggestive things that he was falling in love with her, that type of thing. So the kid, because the kid is a kid, doesn't know how to react, and she sometimes but there's so many levels there that shouldn't be, right? But what is the legal what was broken? I mean, aside from the creepiness of the whole thing.
And siguro to add lang din to that question ni boss, in the event na it merits to file a case, can somebody else file the case for that minor?
The parents can file a case on behalf of the minor. Although, of course, the minor will have to give his or her statement, ganyan. And then I think that would yung nililigawan yung student. I think that you can probably make a theory under the Child Abuse Act that the student was being groomed, the student was being exploited, right? So there's a all-encompassing phrase there that other abuses can also be put into this light, and I think that's a form of child abuse.
That's correct.
Groom yung student, tinetext siya sa gabi, ligawan siya.
Right.
Again, first thing you should do there, I mean, aside from keeping the evidence, is to report it to the school immediately. Right? Because the school has the immediate power to do something and separate the child from this perpetrator, right? Tanggalin siya kagad, di ba? Or move the person or put him in preventive suspension,
right?
In order to be investigated or keep the child safe first. So tell the school kagad.
Yeah, because the primary responsibility of all educational institutions is to protect their students, right? I mean, aside from educating them, but they're supposed to protect them from these things. So interesting.
Yeah. But attorney, sorry, another private message question.
Phone in question.
Dami nila. Well, I guess in relation to what you were mentioning, boss, is an accusation enough to merit the removal of a coach?
Right.
Well,
I mean, if hindi naman yun kasi yung point ng cheerleader, but I mean, syempre, meron pa ring consequences din sa coach, di ba?
Well, I mean, an accusation shouldn't be enough because you have to give the coach his due process. That's how you try to balance yung parang someone weaponizing it and someone who is actually a victim. You want to give the other person a chance to be heard because accused man siya or hindi, kailangan marinig pa rin yung side niya, di ba? That's a legal standard that has to be made. So an accusation will it be enough to remove remove a coach? Hopefully it's not because you want to hear the other person's side first.
Yeah.
Diba? It's just to be fair. Diba?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But if it's an accusation with proof, right?
Still, you still wanna listen to the other side. Yeah.
So innocent until proven guilty pa rin. That's the principle there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about the other side,
or due process, diba?
Yeah, due process.
Important. Since we're talking about the other side, right? Not talking about instead of the victim, talk about the accused here. Have you had a chance to actually meet one of these people before? Of course, they may be different. It's usually something that you don't expect. Eh? Like these guys, yeah, like in the video at the start, they really bring themselves. They bring themselves well. You are, groomed to trust them. They look like great people. They're fine, and then they do this, so you're shocked, right? It's also interesting to know why did you do that? What was in your mind? You know them as good people, but they do this. Have you ever had the chance to speak to them? What do they have, like a reasoning behind these things, or what pushes someone to do something like this?
Well, I've never met someone accused of abusing a child or like someone accused of sexual harassment. So my practice isn't really geared towards that. Although from what I've heard, normally it's a cycle. They were abused as kids. Although it's of course not an excuse.
Right.
That's why it's very scary. And, if a coach abuses a child, that child is scarred forever. And it's not something that the child can fully understand. And then there will be some forces that may lead that child in the future to go down that same path kasi hindi niya naiintindihan.
Right.
So really, I really have to stop it immediately.
Yeah, I just want to make a statement here for the record. I don't think anybody that has abused a kid is going to be good people in my book at all. So there's no such thing. Okay? So sorry na lang. Whatever his excuse or her excuse is, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll play a short clip for this. This is about, you've heard of the popular Netflix series called Cheer, Attorney? Have you heard about that?
No. I've heard of Crash Landing on You, Mr. Sunshine. Yun yung puro trending sa Netflix ko eh.
Oo nga. Bumigay na si Attorney.
Medyo same.
Same. Ako, I haven't gotten that. We have a good question though, but I want to play this video first. And this Cheer documentary got so famous. It was so popular when it first came out. It was about a
so
high school.
Inspiring too.
Yeah, it was, and then this thing happened. One of them was accused of. Actually, it's pretty bad. I don't think we have that. Well, I don't know. Can't say. But let me play this and then.
We're going to switch gears, guys, because we've got a disturbing story we want to tell you about, and it's that bombshell arrest of Cheer star Jerry Harris. The 21-year-old is behind bars this morning as he is facing allegations of producing child pornography. This as a new USA Today investigation uncovers nearly 180 individuals affiliated with cheerleading who have faced charges involving misconduct with minors but weren't actually banned by the sport. Gio Benitez has more on this. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Cecilia, good morning. Yeah, this story comes as a shock to so many fans of that Netflix show Cheer. Jerry Harris was interviewed by law enforcement this week, and now this arrest.
You better squat! Yes! Bro! Get it up, bro!
He's a breakout star of the hot Netflix docuseries Cheer. 21-year-old Jerry Harris ruled the mat.
Get it, Sean! Let's go, Jerry!
And the Oscars red carpet.
You're gonna go to LA and be Ellen's correspondent on the red carpet of the Oscars.
Oh my gosh!
Teaming up with everyone from Ellen DeGeneres to Oprah.
Jerry, we want a map talk for the grid.
But this morning, Harris is waking up to a very different reality. Arrested and charged in Chicago federal court with producing child pornography. The TV star accused of contacting two underage boys on social media and repeatedly asking them to produce and send sexually explicit videos and photographs of themselves, allegations he denies. If convicted, Harris could face 15 to 30 years in prison.
The family is feeling a tremendous sense of relief today that they were heard. And that they are being believed and that the truth will ultimately come out.
Netflix telling ABC News, like everyone, we are shocked by this news. Any abuse of minors is a terrible crime, and we respect the legal process. And now, another bombshell allegation rocking the world of cheerleading. A new exclusive USA Today investigation identifying nearly 180 people affiliated with the sport who have faced charges for crimes relating to sexual misconduct involving minors, but were not banned by the sport's two governing bodies, U.S. All-Star Federation and USA Cheer.
The U.S. All-Star Federation requires people who go backstage or into warm-up areas at competitions to be members of the organization and to be background checked. But the U.S. All-Star Federation doesn't actually tell those gyms that they can't hire someone who has a conviction on their record or someone who's facing active charges.
The paper finding that as many as 140 adults, including coaches and choreographers, have criminal histories and 74 are registered sex offenders. Among them, Ohio gym owner and coach Michelle Robinson, a convicted felon who helps operate a gym sanctioned by USASF, and told USA Today she put her sister's name on the application because she knew her 2006 conviction for sexual battery of a 17-year-old boy would show up on a background check.
My sister is actually the registered owner with USASF. At a competition, I can't, go in the back or anything like that. I'm a paid spectator when I go. There's no way I could ever pass their background check. They're very strict about it.
Overnight, USA Cheer telling ABC News, USA Cheer takes sexual misconduct and abuse very seriously. Providing a healthy and safe environment for kids to train and compete is our highest priority.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where we, of course, want to trust people, but we also have to be diligent about checking information and making sure that the people who are around our children are safe.
And a vice president over at USASF told USA Today that the organization leads the way on athlete safety, adding, "I think you would be hard-pressed to find another youth sport organization that has dedicated the time and the effort that we have to these non-sporting resources." For more on this investigation, you can check out USA Today right now. Cecilia.
Okay, Gio, thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Robert here. Thanks.
So that's essentially we have a question from Moises, no, one of our coaches,
which I think is related to the clip.
Right,
So Coach Moises is asking, how can we prevent these coaches to getting other opportunities to other schools, which they can do these kinds of things again, which I think is happening.
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned a while ago, the cheer community is a small community, so people should speak up. Like,
right.
Not necessarily the student who got abused, right? People who are in some form of authority who knows na, oh, itong coach na to, may nangyari sa kanya, di ba? Burihan yun in school or something. And the school should have their own proper background checks as well. So, ganun.
Yeah,
and I think that's where the. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Coach. Attorney.
I think that's where the leverage of an NSA or an international federation can come in. Like a while ago during the clip, they were saying, yeah, sure, the USAF has background checks, doesn't allow these people, these sex offenders into the training grounds, kanyan. But the gyms naman, they don't hold anything over them. You can still have leverage over these gyms and say like, look, if your gym has a registered sex offender or someone with a criminal history, we're not going to allow your gym to compete in any of our sanctioned competitions. Diba? I mean, that's a way to...
Diba? We can do that, actually. Yeah.
People will complain, parang, o di na penalize pa yung bata, ganyan. No, we're not penalizing the kids. We're penalizing the institution who still continues to hire people who put these kids in risk and danger of being abused.
That's true. So I guess it's a good answer, and it's something as the organization and the federation, us, we have to figure out how we're going to do this properly moving forward. But that's good, attorney. I want to ask, shift gears naman tayo. I think we're actually we spent a good amount of time there and a lot of answers.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy with this interview. In terms of a college scholar, I guess you sign a contract with the school or sign something with the school, right?
Yes.
So you
Yes.
can't be unilaterally just removed. Dapat, diba? Can if without the necessary proof or without the necessary, or does the school have that? It can do what it wants.
Well, it's a contract, so it depends on what's written in the contract. Depends. There's some athletics contracts, scholarship contracts, which say that continuous tardiness or not performing or not attending practices can be a ground for termination, right? So it will really depend on the contract.
Yeah.
But of course, it's different if you have a power to do so and actually using that power. Kasi in the end, these are still students. Diba? These are
Yes.
people who are learning in an academic institution.
Kaya
You will
nga
make mistakes, right? So
Yes,
give
yes.
them the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Agree. Okay, so it's a close to 10 o'clock. We have a last segment. Remember, a game na. We had last 2 minutes with you. This segment we call this or that. Okay.
Okay.
So this or that, it's like a lightning round, and we're going to ask you different questions about life, about your goals and whatever, just so that the community gets to know you better.
Sure.
So I guess each of us have our own Boy Abunda questions, but
Yeah.
mine is the Miss Universe questions for attorney.
Sige.
So
I can start.
Oh no.
Mauna ka na.
Yeah, no, mine lang kasi is the curious Lasallian in me. Yung mga this or that ko. So the first one, I think I asked all of our Athenian guests. Manangs or ISO sisig?
Manangs.
Manangs chicken. Daming, I should keep a tally.
Si Manang was our neighbor sa Loyola
really?
Heights. And then, sadly, she passed away na eh.
Yeah, I heard.
But someone shared with us the recipe of the liempo.
Oh.
Wow.
I think news to I think breaking news din to for us.
So kung may lumabas na Mickey's liempo, alam niyo na kung ano yung lasa nun.
Okay. So that's one. And then my last one is Dakanay or Ambeth Ocampo?
Dakanay. I was a student of Father Dakanay. Never ko naging teacher si Ambeth pero si Father Dakanay, solid. His lessons on marriage are helping me with my marriage now.
Very good.
Yes. I have to agree. Yun din ang nakarating sa akin. Care of my
Dahil na
Athenian
yung 5-year rule, kung 5 years kayo na boyfriend, girlfriend, mag-propose ka na. Pwede mag-break na lang kayo. Gumana siya eh.
Yun.
Nakikinig siya. Thank you.
The viewers there.
Kaya never ako umabot ng 5 years ever. So,
Ayun. That's me. Coach Evan.
Okay, Evan.
Few ones. This might be too easy. I had to choose between two: football or writing.
Football. Foot writing. Right? I don't know.
Writing with my foot.
Writing. That's another. Writing with your feet. You graduated you practiced in New York, correct? I think I read that somewhere.
I'm a licensed New York attorney, but I don't practice there.
Did you stay there for a decent amount of time?
No. So I lived in Boston for a year and then DC for a year when I took my master's.
Okay.
I never lived in New York, but anyone can take kasi the New York bar. Anyone from like the Philippines, so that's why I took it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just a question: Boston/DC or states versus Shanghai. So more Western or Eastern feel. If you have to choose where to live.
Oh. If I were to choose where to live, I'd live in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's me and my wife's favorite place, Edinburgh.
Nice.
But if it's kung choice lang talaga between the East Coast of the state in Shanghai, I would choose the East Coast.
Okay.
Interesting. Go ahead, boss.
Okay. I have my two questions. If you were not a football player, what other sport would you have wanted to compete in and win championships with?
Basketball. I mean, if I were like no physical thing, I mean, I could be like taller.
Yeah. You can be.
Basketball or tennis. Although basketball, because I
Tennis?
like the team sport. I like team sports. So
Right.
basketball.
So who would if you were a basketball player, I would assume Ateneo, right? Say UAAP, right?
Yeah.
Who would you be? I mean, put yourself in the shoes of any superstar in Ateneo from all eras. Who would you be?
Anong game mo?
Anong game ko? Kasi
So you
hindi
can
ako
be a
yung...
you can be a
I-
center. You can
Parang
be a,
sa team namin, I wasn't the superstar, but I was the leader. So
right.
I
Okay.
guess someone like sila Larry Fonashare, ganyan. Kasi hindi naman nila, 'di ba? Hindi naman sila yung star or flashy like sila Wesley or sila
Right.
LA, but they still led the team. Ay, ganun.
Right. Parang glue.
Yeah, glue guy,
The glue
yeah.
guy. Yeah. Oh, very good. I have another question before. I have two. Dami kong questions kay attorney.
Sure, go lang.
Okay. If you had an opportunity to have dinner with anybody, living or dead,
Ayu.
fictional, fictional or
Ayu.
real.
Yung isa sa Korean.
Oh.
That was quick.
Yeah. Oo nga, hindi na natapos eh. Medyo sure.
Kaya pala meron yun. Sino yan? I don't even know who that is. Sino yan?
Isip ko pa, sabi ko, oh my God, sino nga ba siya?
Hotel de Luna.
Are you from?
From Korea.
K-drama?
K-drama, K-pop.
Si attorney.
This is a good side of attorney na.
I know. Okay.
I did not
Here.
expect.
Say Alinam and the world of Alinam was made into a movie.
A board game. Sure.
Movie, full screen, everything with all the budget and your ideal setup. Who would you get to play the three protagonists? Yeah.
The three protagonists. Yeah,
Okay.
so I've been thinking about this a lot. If it was like a movie,
Yeah.
I got Liza Soberano as si Sofia Madrigal, who's the female lead.
Okay.
I would get for Diego Domingo. I said this before. It was si Shia LaBeouf, but nung Transformer Shia LaBeouf, not yung medyo.
Oh, yung after. Medyo
After.
gumanon siya.
Medyo, ano na.
Okay. Nag-freeze si attorney.
Oh,
Sayang.
no.
Medyo weird na. And then,
Oh, yeah. He's back.
ayun, am I back? Ayun,
Yes.
so Shia LaBeouf before, and then yung si Luis Tolentino, who's like the jockey guy, would be someone like Chris Evans, ganyan.
Wow.
But if it was a
And then si
K-drama,
Liza
si
Soberano
Liza,
lang, ha?
I want to see that happen.
kung K-drama siya, well, sana kilala niyo sila. Si Diego Domingo will be played by Park Bogum.
Yeah.
Si Luis Tolentino would be played by Park Seo-joon. Si PSG. Kasi bagay eh.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Ayu will play si Sofia Madrigal.
May bias tayo kay Ayu. Boss, may
Wow.
phone-in question, question from Dan, from Coach
Okay.
Dan. Tinatanong ni Coach Dan, ano daw ang second best school?
UP?
UP. Let me show this. Si Dan sent me this, Dan
Oh
sent
my
me
God,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, no? Dan sent me this
Wow.
picture. That's Dan and that's
Yeah, that's me.
that's attorney.
Grabe yung class na yan. Ang gulo ng class na yan.
UP daw.
Wow.
Nag-reply na.
Wait, I wanna follow up from my So you have those guys. If anybody would play you in a movie, your life, who would it be?
Well, people say kasi kamukha ko raw si John Lloyd. So maybe si John Lloyd.
Yan. Yan.
Yeah,
Tama.
I see
Tama.
it. I see it. Hindi dahil guess ka
Tama.
namin, ha? Malinaw naman mata ko.
Parang reciprocal siya eh. Kasi when I was in college, 2003, I was the stunt double for John Lloyd in my first romance when he did a bicycle kick.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow. It's fate. It's fate. It's
it's all
destiny.
it's coming around full circle.
Yes, it's coming full circle. Oh, you guys have any more questions?
I'm good. I'm reading and checking all of my messaging apps. Wala nang humabol.
puno na yung notes ko.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Attorney, we'll let you first. We'd like to thank you very much from us, all of us here in the community.
Yeah.
You've set us on a certain path that we like to protect the kids and to be more involved in protecting these athletes. And thank you very much for that. You've enlightened us. So hopefully we can have you back also next time.
Definitely.
Anytime you want to promote your second novel or another, you're welcome to come back. And we'll give you a chance before we. Si Dan, idol na idol ka ni Dan, no? Yan, no?
Kulit talaga dyan.
Parang nanonood Dan.
ngayon lang nanood yan. So,
Ngayon lang nanood yun nga.
so I'd like to give you a chance to say your last word to everyone before we wrap up.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I don't really know much about cheer and the sport of cheer, but from what I've gotten from you guys, the same issues that cheer has, or the sport of cheer has, we also find in other sports. So if you need any help legally for this, I'm always glad to help. I'm glad that I got to help you guys please steer the organization towards a direction which will keep our athletes safe.
Right.
So thank you for having me. And if I can just plug, I want to plug again my books.
Of course.
So Laws for Sports and the Sporty, that's my textbook for handbook for sports law. It's available at Rex online bookstore. The third edition of my tax book is coming up probably this April. Tax Made Less Taxing. That's available also in Rex bookstore. And of course, Alinam, please try to support Filipino art. And this is my contribution to Filipino art through my writing. Alinam, that's available Shopee, Lazada, Summit Books Online, available in National Bookstore, anywhere you can get your books. So please support that. And if you want to follow me, at Micky Ingles Law.
Please, guys, follow Attorney. Thank you very much. Yes, please support Attorney Micky in all his endeavors, and we're here anytime you need to plug anything. We're always here. Let us know lang, Attorney. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Right. I'll go first, I guess. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It was a very, very good topic, very good conversation to have. It's not the easiest of things to discuss.
Right.
And just quoting the lady who spoke in the first video, don't ever feel that it's weird. If you feel like it's weird, there must be something up. So really talk about it. You have your friends, you have your teammates, people who may be doing this to you, not necessarily be your coach, they could be your teammates as well. So, just talk about it. You should be surrounded by good people, and I believe you are. So just, break the stigma, talk about it, be loud about it. Yes, thank you so much to Attorney. Do check out his books. I'm already on Lazada. I can see Alinam there. I want to explore both and just have a good read. So, yeah, hope to see you guys again next week.
Yes, and we hope you enjoyed this very enriching episode of Pep Talk. I hope you also guys enjoyed getting to know, of course, Attorney Micky better. I know he's not our usual type of guest, but yung mga ganitong bagay kailangan din kasi nating pag-usapan. And
Yes.
we hope that you really picked up a lot. And if there's anything else that you missed on this show, you can always follow Attorney Micky, or you can follow us at NCC and reach out to us. Both NCC and Attorney Micky would always be glad to help you out, especially sa mga ganitong kinds of situations na hindi dapat ini-ignore. So we hope you guys have a great weekend ahead. Again, still stay safe. Kailangan pa rin natin magstay at home. So have a great weekend, everybody. And thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, team.